Ohio, USA.
Our next guest got national attention as Miss Ohio in 2014, and she's gone on to be a regular conservative commentator for Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC. She's also a columnist for the Washington Times, and somehow has managed to find time to go to law school as well. It's Madison Gesiotto. How's it going, Madison?
Doing well. How are you?
All right, so I got to call you out. I remember being in law school and all we did was either work on outlines, study, and drink. So I'm trying to figure out how you manage to do all of these things while still doing what you do in law school.
Well, I don't drink, so that cuts a little bit of time out for me to work a lot more. But I mean, it's a lot. I'm very, very busy, but I'm in my second to last semester. I'll be graduating in May, so I'm really looking forward to that.
That's awesome. I got to say I'm really impressed because you are definitely doing a lot.
Thank you.
So let's talk about campus carry. For me, it was something coming out of school. It was a big deal for me. Didn't really get to kind of really dig my claws into it because, I was leaving school, so to speak. For you, for people out there, why is it such a big deal? Because for a lot of people, it's just a myth. They don't understand it.
Yeah, so let's look at the attack on my own campus, Ohio State, last Monday. We were very, very lucky that there was a police officer in close proximity to the attacker on Monday, and they were able to stop this within a minute. Most times, I would argue over 90% of the time, that's not going to be the case, especially on a campus as big as Ohio State. We need to empower students to be able to protect themselves and those around them. So many students could have not only been injured worse, but they could have been killed last week if it wasn't for this officer. And so I want to make sure moving forward that we do everything we can, of course, to prevent these attacks, but there is a chance that there will be another one. And so we need to make sure that if there is an attack, we're able to respond quickly and efficiently.
Gotcha. And so for me, I ask Antonia the same question. When you're on campus, at what times do you typically feel the most vulnerable?
Well, I mean, you can be vulnerable at any time on campus. For me personally, I'm always very aware of my surroundings, and I wish that I could carry on campus for that reason. I'm someone who, like this supposed, the attacker, they are saying, claimed to have experienced religious discrimination. I'm someone who experienced religious discrimination on the campus last fall. And so I think that we need to, really open people's eyes to the fact that you look at people like that and they're saying, oh, this is the reason why I'm going to go slash fellow students up. Now, I would never do something like that. I think that's a ridiculous excuse. But the fact is there's people out there who maybe get into situations like I have, who have been harassed or threatened by other students and do act out. And so I want to be able to protect myself at any time, whether it's morning, noon, or night on campus, whether I have a night class, whether I'm going to and from class, or I'm just, going to, visit friends on campus after school. And so I think it's very important at all times to be able to protect yourself.
Yeah. And the reason why I ask you the question is because what I try to do, specifically when I'm talking to individuals who don't necessarily see my side on the issue, is really kind of put it in reality for them. And so they see someone like you advocating for campus carry, and they think, okay, what are you going to do? You're going to pull your gun out in class because somebody's in class and start shooting. But your day to day and the things that you tend to experience on a minor level, but they happen every day. It kind of puts things in perspective for them. Say, okay, I didn't think about that. I didn't think about when she's walking to class, when she has to walk home from the library late at night. People don't really think about these things because they view colleges as these little microcosms where nothing happens and it's just shielded from the world.
Oh, exactly. And I mean, when you look at many campuses, and I especially look at my own campus, High Street is one of the ends of our campuses. And when you pass High Street, that's an area where a lot of students live, and it's not the safest area. A lot of students who lived east of High Street obtained their concealed and carry weapons licenses for that reason. But the problem becomes when they're going to class, they can't leave their gun on High Street, walk to class, come back, pick it up, and walk home. So there's been students that have been attacked and mugged many times because of this. And so that's where the issue really comes in, because it's not just on campus, it's about getting to and from campus as well.
Absolutely. So now in Ohio, the way the law currently sits, technically you can carry a gun on campus, but it's left to the decision of the actual institution. Am I correct?
Exactly. Okay. Right now, the Ohio State University has the choice to allow us whether or not to be able to use concealed carry weapons on campus, and they have said no.
Gotcha. And so is there a process that you're engaging in, or from the group standpoint, what are they doing in order to try to get these things changed?
Sure. So I'm not directly associated with the group. However, I do support what they do. And I know right now they're working through the Ohio legislature to make sure that we get this change as quickly as possible because of, what they've been warning about, which is what happened last Monday. And this could happen again tomorrow, it could happen next week, it could happen in 2 years, but we need to make sure that this gets changed. So what they're doing is trying to make sure that Ohio State potentially no longer has that option to make that choice for students. Like I said before, we should be empowered to protect ourselves, and right now we're not. And this creates what I like to call a victim target zone on campus because gun-free zones, as you know, are victim target zones. And so it leaves students like me and my classmates unable to legally defend ourselves and especially vulnerable to attack.
You know what I usually do when I talk about this whole on-campus carry issue is I bring up the issue of Virginia Tech. And for a lot of people, they don't realize what actually took place in Virginia Tech and why those students were so vulnerable to that attack. I mean, he essentially walked into the building, chained the doors, and pretty much had a free-for-all inside the building. And they usually ask people, I'm like, all right, so now imagine a situation like that, and you tell me, if you could, would you not give a gun to one of the students in that classroom? And it's usually met with silence because, again, it really kind of brings the notion home that, you're an individual, you're incredibly responsible considering everything that you do. You find time to manage your time and basically be as ambitious as you are. And I don't understand why they can't understand that individuals who are in college are generally like this. And people who go out of their way to get a concealed carry license are usually responsible people. But somehow you're incapable of doing this because you're a college student, even though you are in law school. And there's no way you could be able to handle carrying a firearm while getting an education at the same time.
Well, exactly. And I think this comes back to the misconception that a lot of people hold who don't really understand the process. They think it's just like going to Target and buying a computer. You have to go through the process. You have to be trained here in Ohio. You have to take a class. You have to take the necessary legal steps to obtain this concealed carry permit. And so if we can educate people more on that, I think that could help. And of course, going back to what you're saying, it's the same thing every time. If someone's family or friend or anybody they know is in a building that's under attack, whether that's, an ISIS attack or just a criminal attack or anything, they're going to want someone in there to protect their family. And so I think we need to bring this back to home and say, if this was your family or friend, you'd want them to be protected. So let's protect, all of our neighbors and classmates as well.
Absolutely. Now, really quick, we got about a minute and 50 seconds left. We can get a little bit personal. Do you remember the first time you ever shot?
Yes, I do.
All right. When was it and what did you shoot?
So I was a teenager. I was with my dad, and I shot a 9mm handgun.
Oh, okay, that's awesome. And so, really quick, kind of talk to me that experience, because I don't know if you follow me in things that I do. I always get into like all the feelings and all that stuff like that when it comes to shooting.
My little brother's a big fan of yours, so I have been following for a bit when he first told me about you.
Gotcha.
But the first time I shot, it was the adrenaline. That's what I remember, the adrenaline rush. I was nervous, I was excited, and then every time after that, it's kind of a thrill. You want to go back, you want to continue to shoot, you want to shoot different weapons, you want to learn more about them, and so that's been what it's about for me. Not only protecting myself, but also shooting for fun as well.
Awesome. Now, when you graduate, what are your plans?
So I will be graduating, like I said, in May. I'll be taking the bar in the summer, and then I'll be going from there. As you know, I've been doing a lot of conservative commentary in the media, and I love that. However, I haven't ruled out going a political or legal route strictly as well.
Gotcha. That's awesome. Well, I thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure speaking with you. I hope you can join us again. Good luck with the bar.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was probably the worst time of my life, but I think you'll be fine. If you can manage everything you've been doing thus far, you'll be good.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. You have a good one.
You too.
All right, folks. That was another wonderful episode of CN Live, and I hope you guys join us again tomorrow for another even more awesome episode of CN Live. You guys take care.